Are we back again? I think we might be back again. Let's stream now. How do I get to the creators? Shit. Okay. Where's that? Create highlight, stream options. Advanced settings, yeah. Let's try this. Live control room. Boom. Yay. Okay. All right. This is fantastic. All right, I think we're up and running now. This is all looking good. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I am KP, the Witch Doctor. I'm a freelance motion designer. I have 10 years experience, a little over 10 years in motion graphics. I did print design for a couple of years before that. So, and for the last, well, since 2008, I've been freelancing, so almost 10 years in that too. So I guess it seems like I must have more experience in motion graphics then, because I started, my first job was in motion graphics was at A&E Networks in, let's see, that had to be 2005 or 2006. 2006. I was a junior motion designer in the promo department there, supporting all of the editors on staff that were doing all the different promos for all the different shows. A&E Networks has A&E, obviously, History Channel, why am I blanking on this? Military History, some of these probably don't exist anymore. Biography Channel, that was a big one. What else am I missing? There was like THC History Channel, Espanol, and then I think a couple other ones too. But so mainly my job then was boring stuff like doing the ends of those promos. The ends of those promos where you see, when the show will be played. They show the 30-second spot about the what show is and what the episode is going to be about, and then at the end it's like at next or at 7 p.m. Tuesday or whatever. So we made all the versions of that so that they could just cut that together for whatever need they had. So that's kind of what I did. A lot of versioning out and those little end tags and end cards. They were usually super quick, didn't have a lot of time to knock them out, and generally just needed to be fast and legible. So, but that was okay because that's always been my style for design anyway. Yeah. Doesn't look like we have anybody in the room yet, but that's okay. I'm going to keep going for a little bit and see if anybody will show up. Having my coffee today. I was supposed to go do work on the project, but actually the client changed it all around at the last minute. Not anything I'm not used to, but I thought I had to get something out this morning, and then things changed around, and now my morning opened up. So I've been wanting to do these streams for a little while now anyways, about, I don't know, just freelancing, and I've been doing this for a while now, so there's kind of a lot of tips and things that I could share, I think, for people. And even though I do motion graphics, this stuff applies to anybody. I mean, I don't know that anybody can, in any industry, can do this, just because I'm not sure what the need is for freelance bankers. I suppose in some capacity there must be people who contract for these companies and are not employees themselves. But photographers, lots of things in the creative arts and sort of the commercial arts, copywriting, videographers, things that have some sort of use. If you're a printer, maybe. I have a friend who owns a letterpress company. If you're into printmaking or even hand lettering or calligraphy or want to specialize in some particular aspect of design, then I think you can get a lot of insight from these types of tips because they're really universal. Stuff about networking, and that's, how I find 90% of my work. Networking. It's all through people that I know and then people that I meet at other jobs, and they end up coming back or know somebody else who has a need. And even though I'm in Chicago, it's a big city, but it's still a really small world when it comes to video, which is what I work in, and my particular niche, which is sort of more of a clean corporate style, so to speak, I guess. It's very business friendly, it's very design oriented. I don't really care so much about doing flashy stuff that necessarily satisfies my artistic passions or anything. I have personal projects for that stuff. This is a business. It's a good business. It's a fun business. It's a job that I enjoy doing. I couldn't see myself doing something else. But at the end of the day, it really is a job still. So I'm not going to try and pretend that it's not. But in realizing that is sort of what unleashes you to go and live the lifestyle you want. Freelancing offers an opportunity to set your own schedule, be in charge of your hours a little bit. While yes, you are still kind of tied to people and an employer in some regard, in that you have to finish a project or hit a deadline. Yeah, but it's also kind of nice to be able to say no to certain projects that aren't a good fit, or just aren't working with your schedule, or whatever. So let's see, do we have anybody in here yet? I wish it would be great if somebody were here with a question, but it doesn't look like there is. Ooh, I can make somebody a moderator. I digress. Let's see. What was I going to say about that? There was something that I was going to say about it being a business. That's kind of part of it. Is understanding, and that how to do it is understanding. So I was talking about getting past that idea that this should be your personal art, and people kind of say follow your passion and everything, and I'm not sure that that's such a good well, it's not necessarily good business advice. It might be good personal advice. It might be good life advice, I suppose. But if you're trying to grow a business, you need to think about what the market is asking for and demands. So in my market, flashy motion graphics are just not in demand. If I lived in Los Angeles or New York, where I was getting more work through broadcast stations and films and more types of maybe startup companies, or even products, or new products. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of agency work where it's sort of sales videos and some ads here and there. And people might say, well, you're a sellout then if you do that. But I don't see it like that, because again, it's not my personal art. I have side projects to do those things. So what I do is see this as my job. My goal is to try and get as much done in a normal day, in a 9 to 5 day. Oh, that's what I was going to say before. when you're starting out, I think it kind of helps to know what you're trying to maximize by getting a freelance lifestyle. So, I guess there's two sides of it. You could either maximize the financial side of it, because there is kind of a financial side to it where I'm making more money now as a freelancer than I could as a full-time employee anywhere. Um, and I can get into why that is later. But and if you're interested in that, then definitely hit me up in the chat and let me know if that's something you want me to go into more. Because there's like the financial side. You can either maximize the money, or you can sort of maximize the freedom of time. Um, and it's tough to juggle both, but those are sort of the two basic options. And when you start maximizing those is when you really take advantage of the freelancer life to its full extent. So, you could almost kind of think about it as like the different credit cards that are out there right now with different rewards. So you could get a credit card that gives you hotel points, maybe, or you could get a credit card that gives you frequent flyer miles for the money that you spend. Every card has some sort of offer like that now. And you just have to pick which one is best suited to your just particular lifestyle. So it's not like that one is the best for everybody. Well, if you want to travel and getting flights is no problem and getting hotels is the hardest, most expensive thing, you should get the credit card that maximizes hotel points, right? So you just have to understand, are you, with your freelance career, are you trying to maximize the money that you're bringing in and the financial upside, and you're not so worried about the scheduling aspect? Or are you looking to get that freedom from a 9 to 5 job where you're shackled to your desk during the best parts of the day? It's summer, just started summer. It's a beautiful day out. You could maybe go to the beach instead if you didn't have to work from. And certain people's work allow more travel or work from different places. So you just kind of have to understand your business, how it works, what you need to do to get your work done, and what your clients ultimately want from you. Like my clients have told me that there are templated options for the stuff that I do out there, much cheaper. And frankly, they're all too flashy. They're all too just pizzazz and wow to really, be usable in a modern business world context. Like, so I could go off on that, but my point is that they're asking me for simple. They're asking me for simple, and if that doesn't take me a long time and I can knock those out in bulk, now I can maximize the financial side of that and also the freedom of time. So, let's see. I see I have one viewer. Hi, viewer. Care to share anything in the chat? Oh, wait. Maybe I should look open. Yeah, so this is my FITC shirt. I'm rocking that today. FITC is a conference, a creative conference. It's a big series of them. And let's see. Like 2 years ago, they came to Chicago, so it was like a $500 ticket or something for the 2-day event. Over 500. It was like almost 6. And I didn't want to spend it because I'm never sure if I'm going to be available for things like that, so I kind of hate to shell out the money and then find out I could have had a job. So then I'm not only out the ticket money, but I'm also out, the day's work pay. So that's something that is I'm always having to weigh, and is kind of maybe a downside of freelance. But again, if you aren't maximizing the financial side of it, and you just care about the freedom of time, then you can uh, then you can. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Audio back? Audio back? Anything? Anything? Hey, all right. All right, of course, now the camera went dead, didn't it? Son of bitches. You keep fucking me. Let's try this again. Deactivate. Activate. What happened? Oh. Oh. I didn't realize I did that. My cam froze. Check 1 2 1 2. There we go. Hi guys. Thanks for sticking it out with me. Although it was a good opportunity to pull up the technical difficulties image. Got my own little recording set up here. We should have, where was all this for Hawk Talk? We need to bring it back. I digress. This is about freelancing here. We're not changing the subject, okay? Just because you guys are the only guys, my buddies, I'm gonna keep it because this is posted to the interwebs for eternity after this. All right. After all of that, I need to refill. I come prepared. Okay, fine. Let's talk about how a freelancer would deal with a Tribe Called Quest. That's actually a good topic. So, Getty Images. Represent, represent. Oh, it is 12:20. A little late for coffee. So yeah, if you're a freelancer, you could maybe be a freelance studio musician. Back in those days, you could. You could go work with the some of the guitar players and the bass players on those. Yeah. So hey, we have one more viewer. So what was I talking about? Yeah, I was talking about going to this conference because it was like a $600 ticket, and I really didn't want to pay it, but I kind of wanted to go because it looked cool. There were some cool speakers and stuff. The FITC conference, and so I ended up contacting them to see if they had volunteer opportunities, and they did. See, volunteer. So not only did I get in for free, I got a free t-shirt, and the one person who was speaking there who I really wanted to network with, a guy who runs, I'm not going to call him out by name, but he runs an awesome interactive shop here in Chicago, and they do really cool installation kind of stuff. Really, really, really cool stuff. And concert stages and awesome stuff. So anyways, he was the one guy I really, really wanted to talk to, but I knew he would be mobbed throughout the conference. Well, because I was volunteering, I was there manning the doors beforehand, and he walked by, so I got a one-on-one conversation with him for 10, 15 minutes, with nobody around, nobody intruding, nobody fighting for his time. And I impressed him with the fact that I volunteered for the conference. He saw it as something that, a positive, where I was totally just trying to get out of paying. So, yeah, that worked out well. It's a good deal if you want to get into things. I've heard of people doing that for stuff like Lollapalooza. I think my sister did that. She went and worked the beer tent for 2 hours or something, and she got a free weekend pass. So, cool stuff. If you're a freelancer, you can do that. I have a third viewer here, it looks like. Do I? No, two. So, yeah. Hey, Bernsey, do you know any mobile developers? I need a freelance mobile app developer. Culinary students at Kendall do events in the Chicago area all the time to network. Festivals and stuff. Oh, they go out and cook for people? Just to get their skills out? Okay, thanks, Burns. Yeah, I've got a few contacts for companies, but I kind of want to deal with somebody maybe on my own because I know the client, and I'm trying to just do the design side of it maybe, and help produce it. Okay, I'll check them out. My thing is, I have a feeling a company might be a little more expensive. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was hoping to, get maybe a developer who can write a C plus or C sharp app and convert it to an app. Yeah, it's gotta, it's definitely gotta be something that can stand up to the marketplace. Oh, that's cool. So Dan Monroe, chefs do demos with other big chefs at outdoor festivals, and then they get the experience. And if a chef likes them, oh, that's cool. So there's like not so much pressure then, because it's just a festival. It's not like a restaurant where the person's name is really on the line. They can get a good test out of it. Well, that's a good idea for people, for freelancers. I know, guy. They outlawed that. They cracked down on that shell game on the Green Line. You don't see that anymore. Anyways, that's an interesting idea for freelancers, like who might be. So it's just a website. How do I handle the expenses within my company? Luckily, I have a pretty low overhead. That's why I hesitate to grow too much. Because with growth comes a lot of extra overhead, especially in this industry where the computers and hardware are so expensive, and you need to get those things. So then you got to worry about filling those seats to make sure that stuff is paid for. This is true. There's nothing left to spend. Let's just say that. It's not that she doesn't let me. She just kind of takes care of that for itself. But expenses have risen a little bit because the software and stuff. I was able to run like student versions of the software for so long, and then stuff just advanced to the point where I finally had to get Adobe Creative Cloud. And I was really anti Adobe Creative Cloud for so long. I just didn't want the monthly expense, because I really like the idea of a spending it once and then be able to use it for a few years. I do not have an LLC. I am currently a sole proprietor, just as a DBA, doing business as. So I don't sole proprietor. I don't have any protection like that. It's just like on my personal social security number, I can use a business name. That's what the DBA is, doing business as. So that's registered, but and I have an employer ID number, so I can use that. It's like a tax number, kind of like a social, but it just goes for the company. And then, but I'm talking to some lawyers real soon about incorporating, and I'm not sure if I'm going LLC or S corp yet. The DBA, you just register. I think it's actually free. You just go on to, I don't know if it's the IRS. It wouldn't be the IRS. I forget what it is. And you just, like, I think it's just a form to fill out, really. It's just kind of a technical thing. There's no fee or anything. And once you have that, you get, same with the EIN, the employer ID number. Anybody can really request one of those. And I got mine so long ago, it didn't take very long, but but if you want to incorporate and stuff and go that route, as a sole proprietor, you can just do business under yourself. You just have to claim the taxes or claim the income, but you can still claim all the expenses and write those off. It gets a little more complicated under your own thing, but if my office mate just incorporated and he decided to go. So an LLC is just like that, where there's no board or anything. It still kind of is like a sole proprietorship, but you have this protection. So if somebody sues you, if I'm not an LLC, they can go after like my personal assets. So if I had a house or like a car, but the but since I don't have that stuff, I haven't been that concerned. With the corporate structure, you get that protection where they can't, there's like a barrier. So they could sue the company and the company can go bankrupt and you won't necessarily lose all your own stuff. But my office mate actually went S Corp instead of LLC. So now him and his wife are on the board, I think. And, there's some other things you have to keep, like some more records and do some other taxes and stuff. But I'm not sure. I have to consult with the lawyer to talk about and the CPA to talk about which one is going to be better for me. Okay, so how do I find jobs? Do I have people just contact me now? Do I look for jobs? I keep an eye on full-time jobs just to see what's out there. In the past year, I've reached out to a couple that I thought that would be good fits and might be able to get to the salary level. And frankly, people just can't get to the salary level that I'm expecting. I'm making just too much money. And so, I just can't. But I do. It's like 90% networking. It's people that I know who know other people. And it's a small industry. And there's not a lot of people who do what I do. And it's like all the young kids keep on, if they're any good, and they're coming up, and they're any good at all, they move to New York or LA. They just move away if they're any good. So any competition I have just keeps on leaving. And so I get leads through that. I look on Craigslist, but nothing has, and I respond to things, but nothing has ever come good from it. So I don't even know why. I pretty much don't. I just keep an eye on it. Where else do I get gigs? Lately, LinkedIn ProFinder is this thing where people can submit projects and do like an RFP or request for proposals. And so if it matches with your skill set that you put in with what their project demands and they enter, then you get that they get you get an opportunity to respond. So I've gotten a few things that way, and but mostly it's kind of just been word of mouth, really. Okay, so the question before was from the chat room. From the chat room! All right. We have 2 concurrent viewers, by the way. You guys do the math. The Midwest motion graphics design world is run by Witch Doctor Studios. And Folgers. La Colombe if I'm really feeling spicy and flush with cash. Let me say though, it helps to have a couple of other streams of income on the side, Hey, thanks chat room. I appreciate it. Helps to have a couple other streams of, like the old Peyton poster. That's been a little bit of money. I sell some other work and stuff, so there's other ways to kind of cobble together some things. Okay, yeah, so the question from the chat room is, how do you make the decision to continue doing freelance versus taking on a full-time opportunity? Well, I just evaluate whether, my preference is kind of freelance because it's been so flexible, and right now it's just kind of rolling. So The problem for me to stop freelancing right now is a couple of years ago I took a full-time job, and within 11 months, not even a full year, they laid me off because they didn't have enough work. Now, I can't plan. I don't know, I have no control over that. So I was freelancing before that, and I had got rid of my clients for that year. They had come back to me. I said, I can't take your project. I have a full-time position now. And I loved the position. I loved the place. It was really a perfect fit for me. And then 11 months in, they laid me off. And I got a nice severance out of it. And it was kind of nice. But it was just kind of like, well, there's no stability there either. So if there's no stability in a full-time job, where's the risk in freelancing and going after whatever, kind of trying to create some perfect situation? There's none. The whole thing then was health insurance. And so I went through a long process to get my own health insurance, self-purchased health insurance, which at the time was kind of expensive. Now is absurd, but I'm grandfathered into a plan that I won't get rid of because they simply don't offer it anymore. So it's in the end, it's kind of like diversifying your portfolio. Now my clients are spread across all these people. So if I lose one client here, I'm not really that worried about it because I know another one will pop up, A, and two, I know that I have all these other ones to keep me kind of floating. And once you get to a certain point, you definitely have to carry a buffer, like a cash buffer of a couple of months, because you don't know when it'll slow down. And but once you kind of have that built up, you don't need to access it that much, and it's just there, and you got the cushion. Assholes. Yeah, tell me about it. I was kind of disappointed. And now my cousin works for them. He's like a partner there, and it's kind of hard to. He's always asking me about it. I'm like, yeah, I left there on like not great terms, right? I mean, I still have love for him, but actually, that's where a lot of my contacts have come from, and that's the thing about networking is like, you just can't burn a bridge if you're going to try and freelance, no matter where. These are people from 8 years ago that I worked with there. They ended up getting pissed at the place too because the place changed. They all went off, started their own things, and now when they need video work, they call me. So I've ended up getting like 4 new clients out of that one place. So, a lead and a connection is never dead. So don't hesitate to stoke those relationships. The other thing you were asking about how to get work and stuff. And honestly, it's not just having the network of people. You have to use it, actually. You got to like reach out to the people. So if I see that I haven't had anything for a while and I don't have anything coming up, nobody's been reaching out, I will proactively start contacting producers that I've worked with before. Say, hey, you know what? I have some availability. Do you have any needs? Do you have anything coming up? Because a lot of times these people are they're so busy, and it's not personal most of the time. They honestly just want to go with the easiest thing possible. So what happens a lot is if you get into a place with one project, it will end up snowballing into more projects because they just want to keep it easy. So you're right there. Hey, you available? Yep. Okay, cool. We'll just have you stay on. So, yeah. Oh, what happened to RDC? What? From the chat room. We have input from the chat room. What's for lunch today, guys? I got some trail mix in a juice box. Concurrent viewers, 2. We had 3 at one point. That means there was a stranger amongst us for a bit. So, the subtitle is there, so you can understand what I'm saying. Speaking of freelancing and extra streams of income, since we were just talking about that, did you know that you can make money on YouTube by going onto people's videos and adding closed captions to them? I think you can. I think you can make money. You can definitely add captions yourself. I think for certain places they might pay you for it. So this wonderful internet that we have now is providing lots of cool opportunity. Oh yeah, I should do like a Pee Wee Herman word of the day thing. Opportunity being the word of the day. Right, Burnsy? What the heck happened to the chat? I lost you guys. I lost you mofos. I'm going on 40 minutes here. Talking to myself here. Okay, so I'm gonna get a book real quick. I want to show somebody something. All right, here we go. Book time. So, let's talk about this book here. This book is like kind of the answer to everything. It's called The Handbook Pricing and Ethical Guidelines. So it's got information about how to charge for stuff, technology issues, legal stuff, copyright, licensing, and all the rights management for when you use stock imagery and what all that kind of stuff means. And like that's some of the technical stuff that you got to know if you're doing anything. So I think if you're gonna freelance, you have to kind of sell yourself as a true pro, a true expert of what it is that you do. It is kind of serious, you know. It's sort of like there is, you know, a business side to this stuff, and so you are running a business, and it's kind of, you know, when you finish a job, you have to invoice a client. So, you know, before I had QuickBooks, I didn't know what that even looked like, but luckily there's like a form in here, Illustrator's invoice. And so you can, you know, it gives you some ideas of how to work and stuff. And then there's some useful websites, lists of publications. A lot of this stuff is kind of outdated. This is an old book, but when to call a lawyer. How useful is that? Before calling a lawyer. Negotiations. Legal expenses, standard contracts and business tools, surface design prices and trade customs. So then there's also some prices and like kind of customs for different industries and like how you would handle. Again, so a lot of this stuff kind of isn't relevant to me because this is about natural science illustration. Like, I think that's if you're going to do like medical illustration. But or greeting card and retail product illustration. If you're a freelance illustrator, this is the kind of stuff that yeah, it is kind of the guidebook to run your company. It's like all the things at least to consider, and whether you really need to get into all of this, you might not, but to know about it, it can't hurt. When to use taxes, sales tax. So that's just like a reference, but you can't just have that online. You got to have that available. The other thing I got here is more of a like just kind of a basic home business tax deductions, and again, I use somebody for my taxes, so they kind of tell me what I can write off and what I can't, but it helps to still know kind of just what it will fly and what won't. It's interesting. So here's a question that this asks, and this is a good why some of these books are kind of helpful, but most of the times they're just really for flipping through. But let's see. When are you really? You probably can't read that. It says, when are you really in business? So is what you do a business or a hobby? That's something that the IRS wants to know. They because if what you're doing is considered a hobby and not a real business, things that you're writing off as expenses aren't actually expenses, and then you're going to get dinged for that. So that's if you're audited. But I've never been on. Knock on wood. This ain't wood. That's wood. But I don't really have much to worry about. I don't think if I were. Deductible travel expenses, car expenses, meals. Should probably look at some of this. Home office. So the home office is a big one because it's not just when you start accepting checks. Well, that is kind of it. That is basically it. Like, are you accepting money for it? They're trying to get away from people when they're saying, are you in a high? They're trying to get away from people saying, I'm in a business and I lost money in the business, so now I don't owe anything on that, I guess. Meaning that, like, let's say you're just a bedroom musician, but you put out, if you're not, it's a gray area. It's like one of those legal things that would be argued in a court. So there's kind of like a sliding scale that kind of pushes you, yes or no questions kind of push you like, are you? Yes? No? Oh, that? Yes to that? Okay, you're more here. No? Oh, well, that puts you way back over there. And it kind of adds up. But here's the thing about home office. See, like now I'm in my office here. Maybe I'll give you a little tour in a second. But before, when I was in the home office, this is how you calculate the portion of your home. So you calculate the amount of square footage out of all your total square footage that you use for your office space. And then that percentage, you can write off that percentage of your electricity bills, your internet, anything else that you use there, as well as the rent, I guess, a portion of the rent, or mortgage if you have. So that's kind of also why they want to distinguish between hobby and business, because if it's just some guy saying it's a business, but they don't, if it's kind of just a shell where it's like, oh, we buy stuff as expenses and write it off, and then we don't owe any money, taxes, because we didn't make any money. So it's kind of I don't understand fully how that makes sense, but some people make it work. And it's not necessarily illegal. So you just have to make sure that you're qualifying as a business. Yeah, those are the two books. I should put some links. I'll put links in the description for those, for viewers after the fact if you want to go check out this book, especially this one. You know, this one is like, you can find this stuff online probably, but this one is a must-have. And for anybody, like even if you're not in design, if you're just trying to freelance in any way, I think that one's helpful. Yeah. So, pink concurrent. Still 2 concurrent viewers. Just you guys. Well, I think I might actually get something done now. So, no, got my juice. I guess I'll sign off here. A sip and sign off. See you guys this weekend, Burnsy? Yeah? What is that, like a 4-hour trip for you? No? Oh, bummer. Well, seriously, thanks for watching, guys. Those were really good questions. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, us too. We'll caravan. I'm bringing the boards, dude. We can paddle around. It's gonna be a blast. Ooh, wait, you know what? I thought, here, let me... There was a live El Salvador surf cam on YouTube not long ago. Boom, Las Flores. Doesn't that make you want to go to the beach? Come on. Alright, guys. I'll holla at you later. Way south. I have to look at a map. I don't know that geography one bit. It's the new spot, though, man. It's the new spot. But everybody acknowledges that the bodyguards are a must. And they're just okay with it. Alright, dudes. Later. Thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe. Like. Yeah, you guys too. Like. Subscribe.